Hey everybody, welcome to the video where we're going to talk about a couple things that are super important as a designer and as a photographer and as someone that works with art in general. And it's not the most exciting things until you understand how much headache it can save you. So there's a couple different resources that are kind of in this assignment that basically you're going to be taking notes on. But I'm going to go over some of the information too. So if you want to just kind of take notes, I'm looking for you to just kind of have a couple references written down somewhere so that you could go back and reference this if you are ever in a situation where something's giving you a headache. Um, Probably the most important pieces of this puzzle are understanding pixels and what images are made up of. So on the bottom here, you can see here there's this 8-minute guide to image resolution, and like the voice on this is like weird and crackly, but it does a really good job, at these points when it's showing you an image that's pixelated, an image that's clear, and how the file type looks differently when you zoom in on it really closely. Um, so when you're thinking about an image, think of it like uh, a bunch of tiny little squares that are brought together and put right next to each other, and then your eye will just see something that looks like a face holding a pencil. So you can see here, this is a face holding a pencil with glasses on. And what happens is, let's say you had 800 by 600 pixels. So that means there's 800 little squares by 600 little squares. And in those little squares, each one has a different color. So if you have 800 by 600 and you're looking at it really closely because you cropped in on something little detail, well, you're going to have some image resolution issues if you're trying to make it a really big image. Now, if it's supposed to be just a little picture in the bottom, well, great, that doesn't matter. But if it's like going on a billboard, obviously you need lots of pixels because it's going to be blown up so big. So that's where maybe on the image on the right here, he'll talk about the exact specifics, but maybe that image even has twice as many pixels. So then it would be, 1600 pixels by, what was it? I can't even remember, 8. So I think 6, so 1200 pixels. So now we have twice as many pixels in this square image that we're working with. So then there can be twice as many little squares. So then they can even be smaller and you won't notice them when you blow them up bigger. Uh, the other kind of resources here are raster versus vector images. So Pixlr is an image that works with, or is a program that works with raster images. So those are images that when you blow them up, there's actual pixels you're working with. So that's a little bit limiting because if you have a small raster image and you blow it up really big, well, then you have so few little pixels you're working with. But Vector, which is like Adobe Illustrator, is kind of the industry standard one of the vector images. And vector images are actually math formulas. So, like, a lot of logos are made in vector images because they can be put on all these different things. And when you're working with a vector image, those are images that are math formulas. So it's actually going to stay the exact same no matter how big or small it is. You'll never get pixelated because it's just these formulas saying what the lines should do, what the shape should be. And those formulas don't change if you change the shape of the shape, the size of the shape, and the size of the line. So this video will maybe make more sense after you've watched through these resources. Um, but raster versus vector is another important thing to know. Um, and there's some good resources in here. I'm going to just demonstrate a couple things really quickly here so that I see common issues with image file types. So oftentimes I'll find issues with types is if a student just goes to Google and they type in, let's say they're trying to find an image of a baseball. Sure. Then they would go to images, and then this is what students sometimes will do. They'll be like, oh, image of a baseball player, perfect. They'll right click on this and they'll say, save image as. And the image is a JPEG image, so that's one of the file types that's common. and we're going to save it there. What the issue here is what you're actually doing is you're just saving this tiny little image that's in Google as a thumbnail. You're not even, like if you would click on the image, now you have an image that's 600 pixels by 421 pixels. So now you're at least tripling the size of the amount of pixels you have. But I want to show you what that looks like. So if we go to Pixlr and we open it up, when you grab the thumbnail, this is a great example of how file size matters. So we're in Pixlr and we want to open an image. And I'm actually going to do one more step with this, but I think this, goodness, I can't remember where I saved it to. I guess it doesn't. Yeah, it does matter. Okay. I'm going to just do this one more time just so I can look at where I saved it to. If you ever get lost on like where things are, if you resave it, it'll show you the folder. So it looks like it's on my desktop with the word download. So I'm here, open image, and I'm going to go to my desktop and find the D's, A, B, C. Not seeing it there. Here we go. Download. So this is a small image. So even when you open an image like this in here, you can see that it's small just by the fact that it's really tiny already, because the program's saying this is a small image. It's really tiny. So you can see some of the pixelation already if you're looking at it here that you're seeing, right? And if you zoom in a lot, you can see that these are just literally individual pixels. Like the bat is not 50 pixels, it's 4 pixels wide. So that's some of the issue we run into with the thumbnail. Now I want to show you even more of how pixels can be important. And like, I know that pixel art is something that's kind of popular. Pixel art, it's like where you individually select colors for pixels to make something. I've never done it, but so we're going to go to image size, and we're going to lower it because right now this is 68 pixels by 188. Let's make it 68 by 48. Now the constrained proportions are on. If you would move that, you could mess with it, but we're going to keep it on. Apply it. So now we're even less, right? Now you're getting like 2 pixels basically wide for the bat, maybe even 1 at some points. And it kind of starts looking like an old school video game. Now we're going to even do more. So image size. And we're going to go down to 8, since we're just cutting off numbers. Now you can see that we're back to Minecraft style pixels where it's like little blocks, and we have 8 pixels by 6 pixels. There we go. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And can you tell this is a baseball player? No. But it is kind of interesting as an abstract work to take things and break them down to the very basics. All right, I'm going to wrap this long video up. I understand that file size and raster versus vector isn't the most exciting stuff, but it is something that will save you a lot of headache. When you have an image that is, like even right here, and you're trying to work with it, it's just hard, right? If I'm doing an image selection, I don't know where this glove is. It's, it's hard to cut out the background for this ball. It doesn't really even have a ball shape. It's like all pixelated, so you don't know where the edges are. So make sure you're always working with large enough files and you kind of follow that process we talked about at the start of the class. All right, have a great day. Hopefully this was sort of enjoyable to see in action. Bye.